Welcome to the OJP TFSC live discussion webinar on JustGrants and ASAP. So let's start off with a little bit of housekeeping tips. Welcome. This live webinar discussion is being hosted by the OJP Office for Justice Programs. If you have any technical issues during this session, please contact OJP TFSC at usdoj.gov. You can access the informational brochure and the FAQs with the link provided in the chat. To ask a question during this session, please use the chat box on the right-hand side of your Zoom. In order to keep the most accurate attendance, please just tell me the number of people joining you on the session, including yourself. Everything except the Q&A discussion will be recorded today. We have live captions available during the session, and you can access those by clicking the links I'll provide in the chats. And we also have Spanish captions and English captions. Since your feedback is so important to us today, at the end of the webinar, we'll provide a survey link. So please fill that out when you have the time. So before we begin, let's go over a couple of Zoom tips. On the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you see a mute button. To mute yourself, just click that icon, then you see a red slash. That's how you know you're muted. If you're not speaking today, please just ensure you mute yourself to avoid any background noise or any interruptions. Right to the right of that, you'll see a camera icon. And to turn on your video, just click that button. To turn it off, click the button again, then you'll see a red slash. And that's how you know your camera is off. And to the right of that, you see a chat icon. Just click it to open your chat. It'll open up to the right of your Zoom screen. This is where you communicate with everyone on the platform. And so let's give it a little test. Let's put in the chat the last thing we ate for breakfast or dinner. So let's see if we have anyone chatting in. Looks like it's working for everyone. And now to send a private chat, you just use that drop down button and you can choose the recipient of who you want to send that private chat to. And on the top right-hand side of your screen, you can change your view. You can go with speaker view where you can see only who's speaking, or you can go with grid view, which is kind of like the Brady Brunch grid. So let's meet our presenters. Our first presenter is Crystal McNeil Wright. She's an associate CFO for the Grants Financial Management Division in the Office for Justice Programs and brings more than 30 years of leadership and management experience. And Crystal is also a published author of a book on parenting. And also joining us today is Lisa Hartman. She's a training specialist for the Office of Audit, Assessment, and Management, Office of Justice Programs. And Lisa is currently working with the JustGrants team to produce training materials and facilitate training and demonstrations of the JustGrants system. We'll also have Stacy Kernesian joining us. She's a training specialist for the Office of Audit, Assessment, and Management, Office of Justice Programs. Stacy creates and delivers engagement training materials and facilitates formal and informal learning experiences, including traditional e-learning, micro-learning, and instructor-led learnings. We'll also have Kate Rustad joining us. Kate is a communication specialist for the Office of Audit, Assessment, and Management with the Office of Justice Programs. Kate designs, refines, carefully crafted learning training materials for a variety of audiences. We'll also have Kiana Teixeira. She's a financial system analyst for the Financial System Support Division with the Office of the Chief Financial Officer. Kiana is currently managing the ASAP system for DOJ along with her team. We'll also have Zarel Acevedo. He's a financial specialist for the OJP TFSC. Last and certainly not least, we'll have Francis Mendez. He's a project director for the OJP TFSC. Francis has a background in law, social work, and business administration. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Francis.
Thank you, Jamil. Hola a todo el mundo, bienvenida. Cristal no pudo estar con nosotros hoy, pero ella quería que yo le dijera que ella estaba muy contenta que ustedes están participando con nosotros y espera que usted encuentre ese seminario muy útil. So, yo voy a hablar sobre la agenda de hoy. So, vamos a hacer una presentación de JustGrants y después va a ser una sesión de preguntas y respuestas y después vamos a hacer una presentación del sistema ASAP con preguntas y respuestas y después lo vamos a abrir otra vez para contestar cualquier pregunta que usted tenga sobre los dos sistemas y después vamos a cerrar el seminario. So ahora se lo voy a dar a mi colega por la presentación de JustGrants. So I'm now going to turn it over to Stacy, Lisa, and Kate for the presentation on JustGrants. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, and thank you so much. Welcome to the JustGrants portion of the session. Again, my name is Stacy Kernison, and I am with the JustGrants training team. I also have with me today Lisa Hartman, who will help me go through this session, and also Kate Rousset, who will help us with the question and answer portion.
Entonces, nuestra primera pregunta de hoy, si quieres poner su respuesta en el chat, aquí tenemos, ¿qué quisiera aprender sobre JustGrants? Y las opciones son A, cómo acceder, B, integración de entidades al sistema, C, roles administrativos en el sistema, D, entrega de informes de progreso y FFR o FFR, E, ¿dónde encontrar asistencia con JustGrants? O F, otro. Y por favor, escriba el otro en el chat. Entonces, las respuestas están aquí y puedo ver que la respuesta más común es entrega de informes de progreso y FFR. Y también tenemos B y C, integración de entidades y también roles administrativos en el sistema. So the most common answer, we had B, C, and D was our most common. And we'll be going over all of those things today. So Stacy and Lisa submitting FFRs and progress reports. That was our most common response for what we want to learn today. Entonces, podemos empezar. We can go ahead and get started, I think.
Thank you, Kate. Next slide, please. So today we are going to discuss a little bit about how to get JustGrants started. So we're going to go over entity onboarding, the roles and resources that are related to entity management, and lastly, where to go for help. So now let's talk a little bit about entity onboarding reminders. So some of you may have already onboarded with JustGrants, and if that's the case, you should be able to log into JustGrants and see applications and awards. You may still need some assistance with JustGrants, but for the most part, your organization has been effectively onboarded. Some of you may not have started the process yet, and we're going to help with those steps.
So Stacy, I'm new to JustGrants, and I know I have an application to work on or an award to manage, but I'm not sure how to get started. What's my first step?
Have you been able to log into JustGrants?
No, I'm not sure how to do that.
Do you know who your entity administrator is?
No, how do I find out?
Do you know who manages your SAM.gov account? The SAM.gov eBiz point of contact will automatically be your JustGrants entity administrator and will need to log into JustGrants to invite all other users to register.
I'm not sure who that is. How do I find out? Next slide, please.
Because the eBiz point of contact will need to take steps that are needed in order to get your organization onboarded to JustGrants, you will need to check SAM.gov to see who is currently set up in this role. To do that, you will need to open SAM.gov and use the search feature to find your organization, also called an entity. You can view the details in SAM.gov and see who is listed as your eBiz point of contact. Next slide.
So my eBiz point of contact is correct in SAM.gov. What do we need to do to access JustGrants?
That's great to hear. So you're going to have your eBiz point of contact send an email to the JustGrants support team to request an invitation to register in JustGrants. The easiest way to do this is to send an email to justgrants.support@usdoj.gov.
What would we do if the eBiz point of contact is no longer the right person?
In that case, you will need to make the change in sam.gov to replace the eBiz point of contact. Once you make that update in sam.gov, you will need to wait about 24 hours for that information to be updated in JustGrants. Then your eBiz point of contact will follow the same steps to request an invitation to register by email by emailing the JustGrants support team. Next slide.
How do I know when I receive the invitation email? What does it look like?
The email will come from an email address called diamond-no-reply@usdoj.gov. Diamond is the name of the program that manages users and roles in JustGrants. Only the entity administrator has access to make changes in Diamond. This is what the email looks like. In the first paragraph, there is a small Here link. You will click on this link and follow the steps to register. We have training materials that will walk you step by step through this process. And we will show you where you can find those step-by-step guides and videos later on. Notice the email also has links to JustGrants, as well as links to training materials, FAQs, and information on how to complete onboarding.
Well, what if I don't see the email in my inbox?
You want to check your spam folder. Sometimes automatically generated emails are sent to spam or junk folders. So check those folders to see if it's wound up there. It happens a lot. Next slide. Here's a roadmap that can help you visualize each of the steps that are needed when you are onboarding. Once the entity administrator invites the users in Diamond, the entity administrator will then assign roles for the users. The users will receive an email from Diamond and then need to successfully be logged into JustGrants. Once the users have logged into JustGrants, the entity administrator will need to assign awards to those users. Next slide.
Okay, that's really helpful. Now that I've registered and logged in, I'm good to go, right? Now I'm caught up with everyone that started out as already onboarded when we started the session.
Almost. You really need to check on a couple of things first. One of those things that you want to check to see if you have assigned the right roles within JustGrants. I know we haven't talked about the roles just yet, but we will in a moment. And as we talk, you will want to figure out which roles you will need to do the work within JustGrants. To check on roles you've been assigned, you can open the Entity Users menu. You will see all of the users in your organization and the roles they have been each assigned. You can't make any changes here, but if things aren't right, you talk to your entity administrator and tell them the changes you need for them to make. It's not a hard process for the entity administrator to do, and the changes take place pretty much right away. Next slide.
Okay, finally, now I'm ready to start managing my part of the award.
Possibly. There is one very important step that sometimes gets missed when there are a lot of users to onboard. You might be assigned the role Grant Award Administrator or Financial Manager in JustGrants, but you can't make any updates to an award unless you are also assigned to that award directly. Again, this is something that the entity administrator has to do for you, but it is also very easy. Only an entity administrator will see the view of the awards. They can see for each award who was assigned on that role. Notice where the red check marks are on the two awards on the screen. This shows you that no one has been assigned a critical role for these awards. In that case, no one will be able to do anything with these awards until users are assigned. Without appropriate users assigned, no one will be able to attach files, initiate grant award modifications, complete performance reports, or submit federal financial reports. It's so important to be sure that users are assigned here.
Okay, now are we ready to go?
Yes. Now that we've talked a little bit about roles, let's take a closer look at what they are so you can figure out which ones you need to have and who in your organization needs to be assigned those roles. Next slide. So now we'll take a look at the roles for a moment. So as you prepare to transition to JustGrants, you will need to understand the 6 fundamental roles for the users. You will find that the roles in JustGrants are not a one-to-one match with the roles that you had in previous system. This matrix will help you understand the scope of the 6 fundamental roles as you determine who should be in JustGrants as your users for your entity and which roles those users should possess. Entities may have multiple JustGrants users. There is no limit. Each user can possess multiple roles. Entities determine who possess what roles, assign users to multiple applications and awards, and each user will have one username and password. The 3 roles that are required for every grant award are an authorized representative, grant award administrator, and financial manager. And if an award does not have all 3 of these roles assigned directly, you will not be able to do any work on the award. The grant award administrator submits your performance reports, grant award adjustments, and manages the closeout process. The authorized representative is the one who has the legal authority from the entity to accept the award. And lastly, the financial manager is a required role and is the only person who can submit the federal financial reports.
Well, what if I need to have more than one role assigned? I do both the performance reports and the federal financial reports in my office.
No problem. You can be assigned as many roles as you need to get the work done. Just be sure to tell the entity administrator what you need. You can be assigned as both the grant award administrator and the financial manager on the award if that is what is needed.
So in my organization, we have more than one person acting as a grant award administrator for an award. One person does the modifications, but another person does the performance report. Can I assign both of those people as a grant award administrator on my award?
Unfortunately, no. At this time, only one grant award administrator, one financial manager, and one authorized representative can be assigned to an award at a time. However, lots of organizations are used to working with more than one grant award administrator. So if you need to reassign any role in JustGrants, the entity administrator can do that easily by going in and making a switch. And the switch pretty much happens immediately. So let's take a look at the table to see how many of each role you can have in your organization and how many of each role can be assigned to an application or award. Like we said before, there can only be one entity administrator in an organization. They do not have any role in the award or application, so they are not assigned to edit. They can only see everything in the system. You can have as many people as possible in your organization assign the role of grant award administrator, financial manager, authorized representative, or alternate grant award administrator. With that being said, there can only be one of these roles on an award at a time. You can have as many people as possible in your organization assign the role of the application submitter, but again, only one can be assigned to the application.
What if I need to have one person do something in an award and another person do something else? Suppose I do the performance report, but someone else does the grant award modifications.
Your entity administrator can use the same process to assign users to awards to reassign users. If you are ready to work on a performance report, ask the entity administrator to reassign that award to you as the grant award administrator. You can check on your performance report once it is submitted, and the entity administrator can reassign it back to the original grant award administrator. Again, it's an easy process and the change happens immediately. We have a lot of tutorial videos and job aids that are available for you all. They can help you walk through the process. Later, we'll put a link within the chat that you can go directly to this video in order to watch all the things that I just kind of went over already. And then that way you can go through the steps on your own and you can stop and pause the video as needed. So to make sure that you've set up your entity correctly. Now I like to share some resources with you that can help you as you navigate through JustGrants. So before we wrap up, here are some more guidances. We have FAQs that are available that may answer some of the questions you may have as you go through setting up JustGrants. We also have links for resources related to the training website, entity user experience, and also we have the JustGrants training support email, and that's JustGrants training support at usdoj.gov. And those links have also been put within the chat box for your reference. We talked a little bit about the online site for the training materials. So this is what the training website looks like. So you can find a wealth of information here at justisgrant.usdoj.gov. And we have everything from videos to FAQs to job aids that you can print off and have beside you as you go through step by step. We want to make sure that you can start first by reviewing the training materials and then look at the self-service support options that we have available. And then also, if you can't figure out how to get through whatever you're looking to do within the system, you can then reach out to the JustGrants support email, and that can also help you, and we can get guidance through that as well. So the JustGrants support email is justgrants.support@usdoj.gov. And this is what you'll utilize after you've tried to do the training materials that are available, watch the videos, and you still can't figure it out. You can reach out to us by email, also by phone at 833-872-5175, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on the weekends and holidays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you do reach out to the help support desk, we ask that you have as much information about the issue you are encountering as possible. If you can get a screenshot of your page, the browser that you're using, the date and time that it happened, your DUNS number, as much information as you can gather while you're using the system to help the support team get an answer to you would be helpful. So this is just a list of the things that are helpful to give the support team when you do reach out to them. This is just contact information for any of the grant related support that you may need. So you have the emails and phone numbers for each one of the offices that are available there that you can reach out to as you have questions about your solicitation as you go through processing your grant within JustGrants. And that is the end of our informational at this time. I will now turn it over to Kate to go through any questions that we may have about JustGrants.
Alrighty, so this part is not going to be recorded. Entonces, eso es todo de nosotros, pero también al final tenemos una pregunta de encuesta de nuevo. Y la pregunta es, ¿qué encontró de más ayuda en la presentación de JustGrants? Entonces, las opciones son A, recursos, B, los escenarios, no tenemos C, no tenemos video, pero C, video, D, gráficas, E, las capturas de pantalla y finalmente F, otro. Y si tiene otro, por favor, escriba en el chat. Bueno, muy bien. Entonces tenemos las capturas de pantalla. Son los más útiles en nuestra presentación. So Stacy and Lisa, the screen grabs, those screenshots were found the most useful. And that is followed by the graphics and also followed by the, not the resources, the scenarios. So eso es todo de nosotros. Y muchas gracias a todos.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kiana, and I am happy to be here with you today to talk about ASAP. So first, we're going to start with some questions, and I'm going to ask Zarel to assist me here.
Claro, buenos días a todos, saludos. La primera encuesta sobre ASAP pregunta si ya estamos registrados en el sistema. Les doy unos segunditos para que puedan contestarla. Ok, so vemos que la mayoría, por un poquito, ¿verdad? No se ha registrado todavía ASAP, así que, vale, pues parece que el seminario web va a ser importante para ustedes. So the majority of the answer was no. So I think it's going to be very helpful for everyone.
Okay, awesome, great. Yes, we will definitely go over the enrollment process for ASAP. So it's great to know. Thank you.
La segunda pregunta de encuesta es que quisiera aprender específicamente sobre el sistema de ASAP. Aquí están las opciones, cómo acceder, las definiciones de los roles de usuario, cómo inscribir a la organización, el retiro de fondos, dónde encontrar asistencia con ASAP o quizás algún otro tema que tengan. Les doy unos segunditos para que puedan contestar. Ok. Vale, hace total sentido, ¿verdad? Ya que no se han podido registrar. Primero fue cómo acceder, seguro cómo retirar los fondos, ¿no? Es un sistema de pago. Y tercero, cómo encontrar asistencia. So, first one is how to access the system. Second one is how to retire funds or process a payment. And the last one is how to find assistance with the actual system.
Okay, great. So we will definitely be going over all of those through the presentation today. Thank you. Okay, so this is just kind of a basic scenario. Think of ASAP, which is the system that DOJ is now using for you to request your payment. Think of it as an ATM machine. We are the DOJ, or the authorizing agency down to the bottom left, and we will be pushing money or authorizing funds into your ASAP account, which is equal to your DOJ grant award number. And then you, as the recipient organization, then would be able to go into ASAP and kind of pull down or request those funds out of ASAP. So we're going to start talking a little bit about the roles. So the first role is the ASAP POC, and this is equal to the SAM eBiz POC. That's the person that will receive the initial invitation to be enrolled into ASAP. And then with that role, the POC can assign the following roles to different people within your organization, or they can assign all of the roles to themselves. It is completely left up to your agency how they would like these roles to be applied. However, we do encourage for the initial enrollment into ASAP that the POC assign all of the roles to themselves in order to expedite the enrollment process. So we have, of course, the POC role, the head of organization role, the financial official, authorizing official, the payment requester, and then there's kind of a inquirer only role. So here are the two emails that POC will receive when they're invited into ASAP. The first one, of course, will contain their unique user ID, and then the second one will contain a temporary password and a link for them to log in to change that password and set up some security questions. So initially, I know this is a little bit confusing, but when they click on that link, they will be taken to kind of a single sign-on screen, which is the screen to the left, where they will enter in that user ID and temporary password. Once they enter in that user ID and password and set up their security questions, they then would log strictly into asap.gov, which is the screenshot to the right. So I know that's a point of confusion sometimes. When you initially are going to log in, you're expecting to see the ASAP screen, but you will first start with that single sign-on screen. So once you log into asap.gov, you accept the terms, and then you will have a series of notification links. So during the enrollment process, it's a lot of, you click on a notification link, click home page, click back on a notification link. So the notifications are really important through this process. So once you click on that initial notification link, here is where the POC will assign the roles. And so remember here, you can either assign these roles to different people, or you can assign those roles to yourself as the POC. Again, we encourage initially to assign all of the roles to yourself in order to expedite this process. And by doing so, you just would select the boxes at the bottom. So you would click head of organization, authorizing official, financial official, and the point of contact role. Once you do that and you verify the information at the top is correct with your email address, mailing address, phone number, and the organization name, you can click continue and submit. Then you will click the home page, remember, and then we're going to get a new notification link, as you see there by number 2. It's going to tell you that you have an official to approve. So then you would just click on that link. You then would have an action to approve or reject. You would select approve, and it's basically saying you're approving yourself, or if you selected someone else to have these roles, you're approving them to have the authorizing official and financial official roles. You would click approve and submit. You then would select the home button again. And this time you're going to have 2 notification links, one to enter in your banking information, which is very, very important. And then the other one is selecting your agency short name within ASAP. So we're going to start with entering the banking information. You would click on that link. Once you enter in your banking information, please keep in mind it does take approximately 5 to 10 business days in order for the Department of Treasury to validate that banking information. Once you enter in your banking information, when you get your confirmation screen, it should have a date on there in which your ASAP account then officially becomes active. You then would click home to get that next notification link, which is the one where you will enter in your recipient organization short name. And this kit usually is just an abbreviation of your agency name. It doesn't have any impact to anything within JustGrants. It's strictly something within ASAP. So you would just type that in there with the icon number 2 and click submit. And we are almost done with enrollment. You would click on the home link again. You will receive a new notification link saying that you have a new user to name. And so here's where you will insert in the person that would be responsible for requesting payments. So this, of course, is the main role within ASAP for the person to come in and do all of their drawdowns. And so here, again, they can nominate themselves as the POC, or they can select someone else that will be responsible for this role. They will enter in that person's email address, first and last name, address, and they would select the role payment requester and then click continue and submit. So now your enrollment is complete. You have set up all of the roles within ASAP. And so now, again, it's going to take that 5 to 10 business days in order for the banking information to be validated. Once it's been validated and your ASAP account is now active, DOJ now can create your account and authorize funds into that account. And so again, remember, your account is the same as your DOJ award number without the dashes. When this happens, you will receive notifications within ASAP. They will not be emails, unfortunately. But when you log into ASAP, you would see a notification link similar to what we've just seen during the enrollment process. And on that notification, here's a screenshot of kind of just showing an example to let you know, hey, that Department of Justice has authorized funds of $325,000 in this case into your account. And that means that those funds are now available for you to draw down and to request and draw down. And so how you would see those notifications, if you don't happen to see the notification link, you see here it says you can have the icon to retrieve all unread notifications. You would click continue, and then there's a view details icon over to the right. You would click on that, and you see the notification type saying you have new accounts that have been added. Again, that's letting you know that we have created your award within ASAP. So now how do we request funds, right? This is another point of interest for everyone joining us today. So your recipient can initiate a payment request. Most payment requests, once you initiate that payment, you can choose the option to either have it settled the same day, next business day, or for a future date, or FedWire, which is instantaneous deposit into your account. you do need to check with your financial institution, as sometimes that may be a fee associated with that. However, there are some cases where some accounts have an agency review in which someone within DOJ will have to approve that payment request, but this is a very, very rare case. If that is so, once you initiate your payment request, it will go into a review status, and once it's approved, then the payment will be settled. So how do you initiate a payment request? So there are a series of tabs across the top of the screen. Another point, I know that it is very easy to want to click on the tabs, and if you do, you will get an error message saying this functionality is not available. So instead, you want to kind of hover over the tab and then kind of scroll down in order to select the options. So you will hover over Payment Request tab, you will scroll down to the Initiate Payment Request, and you would click on that. And so from here, we're going to have a series of a couple steps in order to complete our payment request. The first one is you want to select your bank account. So at the very top where it says select a bank relationship, there's a drop down. You would select the bank account that you established during enrollment that you would like the funds to be deposited into. You can have multiple bank accounts here, which is why they're giving you the option to select. The next, you then would select your payment request type. It's a drop down. So again, this is where you would say either individual or you could say summary. So the difference is an individual payment request type. If you are, say, requesting payments for more than one award, you're doing one for $10 and another one for $20. If you do individual, you would see two deposits, one for $10, one for $20. If you do summary, you would just have one deposit for a total of the $30. The next is the payment method. Here you would select either ACH or FedWire. You also could do same day ACH if you request any payments before 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those payments will be settled the same day, or you could select next day or FedWire. The requested settlement date, you either, again, could put in today's date if it's before 2:30, or you can put in a future date. This is the date that you would like those funds to be deposited into your bank account. The reference number is not a required field. However, it could be used for your own internal processes if you wish to put some sort of reference number here to reference this payment request. So now you would select your account in which you wish to request funds. Again, if you have more than one award with DOJ and you just want to default to retrieve all, you can. So first you would select the ALC or the region, which is DOJ's ALC, and we have it noted here. It's the 1504001. This is in the event that you happen to do business with other federal agencies, you would see those ALCs listed under there as well. But in order to retrieve your accounts for DOJ, you want to make sure that you select our ALC. Then in the account ID field, either you can enter in your DOJ award number without the dashes, or again, you can leave this blank in order to retrieve all of your accounts with DOJ, and then you could do multiple payment requests at one time. So this is what this payment request screen looks like. So to the left, you will have your account ID or your award number, the status of your account, how much is available to draw down, and then you will put in the amount that you wish to request in the box to the right. Again, you can do multiple or you can do one at a time, completely your preference. Once you enter in the dollar amount of which you wish to request, you then would click continue. This is where you would verify all of your information is correct. If you needed to make a change here, you could. If not, then you would click submit. Once you submit, you will receive a confirmation screen in which you could print for your records. There's a printer-friendly version button at the bottom, and you can save this. So I talked a little bit about kind of the hours or the settlements for requesting payments. So as you see here for ACH payments, any payment request before 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time would be same day. Anything requested between 8 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. would be next day settlement. And of course, if you happen to select FedWire, it could be immediate same day settlement. Again, check with your financial institution to make sure that there aren't any additional charges associated with that. Another note is that ASAP is only available from 8 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. and that is for online reports as well as for initiating payment requests. If you happen to log in and attempt to initiate a payment request before 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will receive an error message that the system is not available. So if you happen to have any questions or any issues with ASAP, we ask that you contact the ask.ocfo@usdoj.gov email address or the phone number referenced above, and we will be happy to assist you. Those are our hours of operation. We do ask that you do not contact the Treasury ASAP Help Desk directly, as they will not be able to assist you with any of your accounts or the available funds within your account. They will refer you back to us. So just contact Ask OCFO and we will be happy to assist you. There is a link that I'm going to post in the chat that will take you directly to the slides that I went over today, in case you need to refer back to them at a future date. I just posted it in the chat. And now I believe we will have any questions.
Sí, ahora vamos a pasar a una sesión abierta.
Gracias, Arel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Ahora, antes de... oh, are we going to do this? Ok, vamos a hacer una encuesta de ahora. Que la pregunta es, ¿qué le parece que fue de más ayuda a la presentación de ASAP? So,
You want me to do it, Francis? I can do it if you want.
Well, that's fine. I can do it.
Okay.
Capturas de pantalla, gráficas, recursos o otro que usted encontró útil, lo puede escribir en el chat. Alguno, no dale un minuto para ver qué usted encontró que era más útil en la presentación de ASAP. Ok, igual que en JustGrants, la captura de pantalla. So what folks found was the most helpful in the ASAP presentation is the screenshot. So it's similar to JustGrants. Ok, muchas gracias. Ok, so antes de hablar sobre los recursos que tenemos de JustGrants en ASAP, quería darle un momento a Cristal para saludarlos. So I'm gonna give a chance to Crystal to say hello to everyone. Crystal, when you're ready.
Sure, I'm here. Good morning. Thank you guys for joining this morning. I so appreciate it. The presentations were amazing. To our Puerto Rican grantees, I really appreciate you all joining. I hope that what you heard this morning has been helpful to you and that you've answered the many burning questions that you've had about JustGrants and ASAP. Of course, we are always available to you to answer any questions. The TFSC Support Center is available to you. So even if you didn't have any questions now, certainly feel free to ask them later. But thank you. I appreciate you letting me hop on at this time just to say hi and to thank you all for joining us this morning. But I will turn it back over to the team. Again, to our grantees, I hope that what you learned today was something that you can take back with you. Feel free to reach out if you have anything for OCFO at OJP and for the support center. So thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Okay, so ahora yo voy a hablar sobre el guía de recursos de JustGrants y ASAP. Jamil, if you can kind of post the link in the chat to the guide. So este guía provee acceso directo a muchos materiales y recursos para entrar y navegar en los sistemas de JustGrants y ASAP. Por ejemplo, los links incluye guías de entrenamiento, preguntas frecuentes, video corto y lista de cotejo y gráficas de información. All right. So do we have that?
Yes, I'm currently working on it.
Okay, so Jamil va a poner el enlace en el chat para poder acceder al guía. Y también vamos a hacer, le vamos a mandar un reporte del seminario web que va resumiendo los puntos clave del seminario que estuvimos y es un recurso para ustedes también. Y puede compartirlo con colegas que no pudieron asistir al seminario web. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Jamil. Gracias todo el mundo. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Francis. So we're coming to the end of our session. But before you go, let's take a look at the next steps. So please take a few moments to complete our webinar evaluation survey, and I'll post a link to that below in the chat. To contact the Virtual Support Center or the VSC, you can email us at ojptfsc@usdoj.gov. We usually respond to email inquiries within 24 hours of the next business day. You can also schedule a consultation call with us with the details that I'll provide in the chat for you right now. So check out our website at ojp.gov/TFSC and sign up for our listserv with the details linked in the chat below. And also our next event, the Learning Exchange Training Series #2, will be held on Tuesday, July 27th, 2021 at 10 a.m. ADT time. And I'll also provide a link to that in the chat. Again, thank you all for joining today. Does anyone have any questions before we close out? No questions in the chat? No? Oh, so with that said, thank you all for joining today's session. And if there's no questions, you may now disconnect.